Hi, I'm Christina. Welcome to this episode of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness Interviews to Inspire. Our next guest is a force in the film festival world, having immersed herself in the scene since 2008. She began by volunteering with the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival and then to festival director and board member of this organization. Inspired to fill the need of telling more stories, she co-founded the Women's Film Festival in Philadelphia and is celebrating its 10th anniversary September of 2025. Beyond the festival, Phuong is on the board of the Philadelphia Women in Film and Television and is a producing partner in an organization that emphasizes producing film, TV, and media made by or about women named Three Left-Handed Women. She is guided by her values of the serenity of health, the freedom and wealth, and the happiness of authentic relationships. Let's welcome co-founder and CEO of the Women's Film Festival in Philadelphia, Phuong.
I was born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is also known as like Amish country. So we were surrounded by a lot of farms, and my friend from elementary school, she had a farm. It seemed that was our life, and I was trying to figure myself out, my whole identity through that, because a lot of Asian people tend to have is like they tend to have an American name and their real name. My American name was Nancy, and so I thought that was my name up until I had to go to preschool and had to learn how to write my name. And I'm like, oh, my real name's Fong. That was very interesting, learning that when I was like 4 or 5. So my parents, they were refugees from the Vietnam War in 1975. They came over in 1975. They came over by boat, and they had my two brothers at the time, we were 3 and we're almost 1. They traveled all the way from Vietnam to over here in America. And then once we got here, my family was sponsored by an American Dutch couple named Richard and Peggy Shufflebottom. They thought they were only just getting one young couple, but they ended up having a whole family. They really embraced us, loved us, and raised us as their own grandchildren. That was the only grandparents I knew growing up. My mom's parents had passed away before I was born, and I didn't really get to meet my biological grandparents on my father's side until I was 13, when my parents had enough money to send us over to Vietnam to meet our whole family. My brothers stayed 2 weeks, me and my sister stayed 5 weeks, and that certainly was the culture shock, and it definitely was something that definitely changed my life completely. When I think about that time, it's very emotional because it did change me as a person. Because when I was a kid, though I was a good kid, I just never understood why my parents always had to send money to Vietnam, and like, why not keep supporting the family that they have here. And I had different connotations about what my family was like over there, just because I don't really know. Going over there and meeting them, just seeing how good they were good people, and that they were living in a developing country, and just seeing how much it really made me appreciate how much I had here in America. And it really just changed me completely. I mean, 5 weeks for a 13-year-old living in my aunt's house. They didn't have a refrigerator when I was 13 there. They do now, but like, they didn't have a refrigerator. They didn't have like real running water. The shower water came from the rain barrel, that type of thing. I was very humbled by the experience, and like, I really did learn how to love being there. And when it came time to leaving them, it was kind of quite devastating because I wasn't really sure when I was going to see them again.
Phuong, your health word is serenity. Tell me what serenity means to you.
Serenity, yeah. It's really all about knowing yourself, knowing your limits, knowing when to push. I'm very ambitious, so I don't really recommend people to push themselves to the level that I'm at. I don't really want to promote hustling culture, like hustling, not bad hustling, but like trying to do whatever it takes to do your goals, like getting a real estate license, which I did. I got a real estate license and started trying to sell property, and that helped pay for the film festival. But I would never promote it. People want to have a different type of life, they can. Just being at peace and being able to manage your emotions and stress, and not putting your body through turmoil, and just learning how to let go that the stress of life kind of brings on you. I've always been under pressure a lot growing up in an immigrant family, being first generation. My family had went from just emigrating here with very little. My mom then had like a really successful like seamstress work where she had like 10 industrial sewing machines, and we were doing well, and then outsourcing happened, and a lot of those jobs had went away, and so we had lost a lot. I mean, through that, we lost a very good income, and it led her to having to work in factories because my parents in Vietnam, they only in their village they could only go up to a sort of like middle class education. Though I consider my parents very intelligent, very smart, because the way that they would teach us about certain life lessons, that was like they just learn how to do things, pick it up, and they were never scared to learn new things. I had three other siblings. I was always pressured to be a doctor or a pharmacist or something like that, and or at least get some type of doctorate degree, and as well as trying to be an independent woman and support myself and wanting to support projects that I'm really passionate about, which is films made by or about women, or even if it's like related to any type of minority voice, that's something I'm really passionate about.
The work that you do is just incredible. I mean, how many projects do you get through your film festivals?
Our highest was maybe like 400 films that year, and then like our average is now like 300 something per year, which is still a lot of films to watch. It's over 300 hours of watching. Thank God I have a programming artistic director, Susie Nash, who is the lead on watching all those screenings. I try to watch the most I can, and I usually watch the top tier ones just so that I also agree with the programming. But she does a wonderful job.
So how do you balance all of that pressure when you're going through a film festival, like all of the preparation through the film festival, balancing your health, balancing your serenity, balancing your, okay, I need some time for me?
I've kind of grown to know what my pattern in life is like, and knowing how to make certain parts more efficient or like clockwork, and making it like turnkey pretty much. And that helps with managing things. It's still a lot because I still have a full-time job somewhere else. I'm doing a film festival for free until we are able to turn it into a 501(c)(3) and then build up upon that. And I was a development manager. I know grants. I know the grants available in the city. We were on our way there to a nonprofit status. It shut our film festival down 1 week before it launching, and so there was a lot of money spent already on marketing and venues, and our sponsorships could no longer sustain itself because people were changing jobs. I was on my way for it to not being stressful because it was like basically the film festival was paying for itself, and I was hoping for that year that I would actually start generating positive revenue. Then our next step is just building off of that. But I was lucky to have a very dedicated programming and artistic director, and like other people on volunteer staff that were there to help support, and community sponsors as well that were very wonderful to us. So, as much as I have a lot of good people around me, I know that the only person who will resolve things is myself, and I often have to rely on myself. I do a lot of reflection. If people see me on a daily life, they'll probably see me like in my car by myself, just chilling and just listening to things like podcasts or YouTube videos, information stuff, and just reflecting on things. It's really just more like time to strategize, and it's all about like, how do I make this possible? People on the outside, they're like, but you do it all the time. You're able to execute all the time, and you always pull through. And I'm like, but I never know that up until like the time. I had tried to step down from the Philadelphia Asian Film Festival because it was a lot of work. Although I love that film festival very much and I stayed on the board, being a festival director is a lot of work. Once I got that full-time job after my master's program, I was like, okay, well, I need to cut back because like I would like to have a partner and I like to have a family, and didn't happen that way. As soon as I stepped down from the one film festival, I had met the other co-founder while helping the other film festival find after-party locations. And I was in the bathroom. I was overhearing her talk, and talking about like a film that she was doing, and that she had like an all-female crew. And I was very interested in like helping her, and gave her my card, and she gave me her card, and she kind of followed up that following Monday. We had lunch. In that lunch, we had this light bulb moment of building a women's film festival. That's how I got started. But yeah, really learning more about yourself and knowing more about yourself and what you can and cannot do. Just listening to your body about what it needs. Like if it clearly needs rest, listen to it. And if it clearly needs nutritious food or water, listen to it. If it needs you to move or exercise, listen to it. Not that I have perfected it, because I'm on my way there, and I can feel it.
And when you talk about journey in your work life and what happened, from the film festival, stepping down and forward into the next piece, it's serendipity that these things have happened. And because you were at a place, like you said, you had a full-time job, you're doing this, you're exhausted. Finding that place to go, okay, what do I really want to do for me? What do I want to do? I need to sleep at night. I need to pay my bills.
Yeah, it was very interesting. While I was the festival director for the Asian Film Festival, not only did I had a full-time job at the time, I was finishing my master's program out, right? Like, what was I doing? Come on, Phuong. Becoming the festival director was very serendipitous. I had been volunteering for the Philadelphia Asian Film Festival on a very low level from 2008, helping them usher people in the theater so that I could have my free T-shirt and my free ticket to see something at the Philadelphia Asian Film Festival, and I enjoyed supporting it because, like, I'm Asian American. I was really happy doing that, and then like suddenly they started emailing out their constituents about wanting to hire volunteer staff, like actual staff. I had a classmate at the time who had expressed interest in looking into like event planning and stuff, and I was like, oh, well, they just said like they're looking for like event planners or like something sort of like that. They have a meeting coming up. I'll go with you. I showed up. She did not. And then I was like, okay, here I am. And I started going to the meetings. I started really enjoying it. I thought, wow, this is a cool opportunity. They're sponsored by Comcast and HBO. I was a theater minor at the time, so like it was very exciting for me to see things like this. And then I committed. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll help with your fundraiser event and your after party event. And they were pretty impressed by that. I only had been on the volunteer staff for a year. The festival director at the time, Joe Kim, which I did not know, was looking to step down. And when he stepped down, he had mentioned my name, and my name got brought up quite a bit of times as to who could replace him. And so, like, within a year, he gave me that opportunity, and the board agreed. And I was like, okay, here we go. Say yes. And I did. And I was very open to experiencing growth. I knew it was volunteer, and I was looking forward to growing in my life career-wise. I had no idea at the time how hard it would be, but it was very rewarding too. I met a lot of incredible people. I learned so much about things. I also had social anxiety at the time, and being pushed into the public eye and the Asian American level in the Philadelphia community was very intimidating to me. Talking to people that I thought were very much higher than me was very intimidating. But being pushed to that level, it really got me out of my shell. I'm like really impressed by the growth that I had because I really was very uncomfortable talking to people. And now I'm much more comfortable. If it wasn't for that opportunity, I wouldn't have ever learned that, or that I, pushed past my fears.
If you could give advice to yourself when you started in this journey of where you are now, what kind of advice would you give to yourself?
That it's going to be okay, that you're going to be okay, and that you're on this journey for a reason, and that things happen for a reason. And it really is true. It's for a life that you could never had imagined that you were going to be a part of. I was raised, and my personality when I was a child was very much having a 10-year plan for myself, right? I was very good at math and science in high school, but when I got to college, my personality, it was just different. And I had every intention of being a doctor. I had every intention meeting a potential partner in college and having a very long-term relationship, to the picket fence, to marriage, to having kids. I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I thought that was my life. That was what I was raised. And it wasn't. My life completely shattered, completely different, broken down. I'm really grateful. I'm grateful that my plans didn't work out, or what I thought I was supposed to do didn't work out, because the life that I have now is it's just so interesting and so fitting to me, and it's authentic to me. There's still things that I am working on, but I would have never thought I would be a festival director or or running a film festival or producing anything. My world when I was younger that I had imagined was very small. It wasn't very normal, very simple. I guess the universe had other plans for me. I had resisted it for a bit. I didn't always accept the fate part till I learned to just be like, I don't know, it was just like one moment. Like I understood the mission. Like I understood what I was supposed to do. And I was like, this is it. That this is part of your mission. This is part of your mission to really help showcase voices that are not being heard. Women are approximately 50% of the population, and it's only like 7 or 10% that are actual directors in the industry. And we all know media plays such a powerful role growing up and what you know of the world and how what you understand what's going on around you, unless you're very fortunate enough to travel around the world. That's the messaging that gets fed to us.
Stay tuned to part 2 and learn about the wealth word for this interview. Subscribe and click the link below to find out about bonus tracks and how to join our community.